Welcome to episode 10, series 2 of Child in Time, Growing Up in the 60s. It's question and answer. So I'm just going to get through as many questions as I can in our time allowed. And here we go. Several people, including Pierre, Anne, Bobby, and someone called Priority One, asked about Season 3. Yes, we will be talking about some things and events that occurred in the early 70s. It doesn't change anything. The subtitle is Growing Up in the 60s. I can go into the 70s if I want to. It's my podcast. Rebecca says, Scott, I have seen on social media that you now are with an agent. Are you in anything on screen or elsewhere we should know about? Yeah, that's something that's sort of grown out of the podcast. I am with an agent now, and if and when I do appear on anything, I will certainly tell you about it. If there's any casting directors listening, please contact me through social media. I'm available for on-screen roles and voiceover work. Jane asks, can you do an episode about cinemas, please? We love the matinees at our local cinema. Yeah, well, I've mentioned the cinema in a few episodes, and I sort of I thought about it, but I really couldn't get enough for an episode. So, yeah, but they were, so many of them were just wonderful buildings in every suburb, often Art Deco or Art Nouveau or whatever. And yeah, now we have these big multiplexes. It's not quite the same. What's the next one? Rodney asks, do you want this wardrobe? It is in good second-hand condition as shown in the pics attached. You would need a box trailer to take it. And because I like your podcast, you can have it for $80. Rodney, I have no use for a wardrobe. And also, I can see by your address there, you're about a 5-hour drive from me, and I don't have a box trailer, so no. Peter asks, have you had any contact with Trevor lately? Those of you who are regular listeners will know that Trevor has really been my bête noire from my childhood. No, I haven't had any recent contact with Trevor, although that's kind of understandable, as there was no one at my school called Trevor. It was just, and that's why I chose the name Trevor. But anyway. Okay, next one. Eddie from Kingsgrove asks, can you please give me a shout out on your podcast? No, Eddie from Kingsgrove. I don't do shout outs on this show, so sorry to disappoint you, Eddie from Kingsgrove, but your name will not be mentioned. So, Eddie from Kingsgrove, please don't ask me again. Before I continue on, I got some very exciting news. I'm putting together another podcast. Yes. And in this brand new pod, I interview interesting and fascinating people from all walks of life. For example, I talk to a submariner. I talk to Australia's biggest ever contest winner, a retired senior police officer, some health clinicians, and many others. I'm recording these interviews now, and stand by to be informed, inspired, and entertained. Everyone has a story to tell, and I'll be asking the questions that are the ones that you'd like to ask. I'll give more details when I'm ready to release the first episode and I can get the name of the podcast registered. If you or someone you know has an interesting and entertaining and or inspiring tale to tell, please contact me through social media and we can talk about it. And you might be suitable for an episode. Oh, this is all very exciting. And for all my listeners in the USA, sure, I can interview you too. Don't feel left out. All I need is a business class return plane ticket from Sydney and a few nights accommodation at a 5-star hotel near your place. Or we can just do it over Zoom, I suppose. Next, Colin writes. This is a very long one. Anyway, we'll see how we go. In one of your episodes, you talk about driving and road safety in general. I pride myself in following all guidelines and signs and have never been fined in 47 years of driving. At our local train station, there are several car spaces near the station entrance with the words "Kiss and Ride" written in large letters in each of the car spaces. This is obviously for married couples to comply with when dropping off a spouse to catch the train. I have no experience of this as I am single. The problem is that recently I agreed to drop my friend, Alan, at the station. The 20-minute ride went well until we arrived at the station. I pulled up at the Kiss and Ride spot and we were faced with an obvious dilemma. I should mention at this point that Alan is like-minded when it comes to following signs. We looked at each other, not knowing what to do. But clearly our friendship does not extend to kissing. We decided to just shake hands instead. But I believe that there is an issue here that needs urgent attention. Via the interweb at the local library, I sent an electronic letter to the appropriate authorities requesting that at least one space be designated Shake and Ride to curtail further incidences of the embarrassing experience Alan and I had. Repeated overtures from myself and Alan have been ignored. Can you use your forum to help us? Well, Colin, the short answer is no. Leslie asks, some of your podcast episodes are centred on your personal experiences and some are more focused on the broader aspects of society in the 1960s. Is this deliberate? Well, Leslie, it depends on the topic. Likewise, many people ask me to do an episode on something I've mentioned briefly. But as I said with the cinema thing, but sometimes it's just not enough for me to get an episode out of it. I don't know, maybe I'll have to do an odds and ends one. Next one, Sam asks, when we were in primary school, we had to learn with a red plastic ink pen using the ink from the inkwells at the front of our desks. It was almost always a messy enterprise, as I recall. Did you have a similar experience? Yes, Sam, I certainly did. I mean, big pens and the like were already in common use. I don't know why we were forced to learn quasi-fountain penmanship or pen personship. It did make a mess, particularly for left-handed children. I'm right-handed. One boy in my class liked the taste of the ink. I never sampled it myself. He was notable for having royal blue teeth. His teeth might still be blue today, I don't know. And the other non-approved use of the pens was to jab the sharp point into the neck of the child sitting at the desk immediately in front. I never did that. Those hours of learning how to write with a pen that needed to be manually filled with ink has come in real handy on the one or two occasions in my adult life when I've been asked to sign something with a proffered fountain pen, say at a lawyer's office or something. It has proved almost as useful as the trigonometry I learnt early in high school. I use it all the time. Where would I be without sine, cosine and tangent? Yeah, but some stuff sticks forever, doesn't it? Like amo, amas, amant, amamus, amatus, amant. I love, you love, he, she or it loves, we love, you plural love, they love. That's the first conjugation I learnt in Latin. Although I don't chat to anyone in Latin very much, I can usually read Latin mottos on crests and signs outside schools and such. And also, well, that's it really. Brian asks, Scott, can you please tell us what your father did for a living? I don't think you mentioned his employment in any episode so far. Yeah, that's an interesting one. My father, like his father before him, was a saddler. So he made, bridles and girths and repaired saddles, and he had his own small business. He was a real craftsman, did sort of like amazing work. His hands were permanently stained with leather stain. He had all these it was all hand done. Next to nothing was done by machine. And interestingly, his father and my father were excused from any kind of military service in any wars because they're prescribed industry or protected industry. There's several industries where people who work in these industries which are essential to the war effort aren't required to join up or be conscripted. Like my grandfather on my mother's side was an Anzac soldier. But my grandfather and my father, who both of them I think were in the frame for military service, didn't have to serve at all. So yeah, he left school at 15 and was a saddler. Anyone in Sydney or Australia would have heard of the Royal Easter Show, which is the biggest agricultural show in the world. And they say it's when the country meets the city, and they have a lot of horse shows there, horse parades, etc., and stuff like that. And my father was very involved in that. And there's actually an award, because they give a lot of prizes and judging. There's actually a memorial award named after my late father. And thanks for that question. I think that's about it. Thank you, everyone who's written in with your questions. I hope I've answered them. And so stand by for Series 3, which I'll start releasing soon, and my new podcast. And we'll talk soon. Bye.